Guys, happy Monday. Mixed open, 3-2, advancing to declining stocks, and Carl's right, Boeing and Goldman both weighing on the Dow. Take a look at the sectors, kind of a flattish open. Banks just down a little bit on Goldman's somewhat lighter revenues, but not a big sell-off. We've had, typically we get weaker going into the bank earnings numbers than we're seeing here. Healthcare more stable after a terrible week last week. UNH down 10% on that Medicare for All story. Semis flattish to slightly down. Industrials weak again because of Boeing. So remember what's moving the markets. Remember, we're less than 1% from historic highs. It's been several issues. The Fed pivot, the China policy stimulus we've seen, the economic data better. Well, Friday's numbers were excellent for China. And the key thing here is earnings are beating by a wider margin. We see this today on our three main stories with Goldman, Citi, and Charles Schwab as well. Goldman is down because the revenues were a bit on the light side. If you put up the board here for the big earnings movers today. But the key story is the revenues, the earnings continue to beat and do very, very well overall. So we have about, 31 companies now reporting earnings for the first quarter. And generally, the beat is on a much wider number than they are normally starting to see here. So the average beat is 7.5%. Historic average is about 3.5%. So they're beating by very, very large numbers. And this includes the Goldman numbers today. And I know it's down on the disappointing revenues, but you want to watch the earnings situation. So the bottom line is we are likely going to be positive for the first quarter. Right now, it looks like it's going to down 2%, but they're beating by such wide margins that it's going to push the earnings estimates into positive territory for the first quarter. One thing that's not positive is trading volumes. I have said for weeks now, the guys down here on the floor are bitterly complaining about the terrible trading volumes. They've been awful. And you can see this in Citi's and Goldman's numbers. Citi's reported ththese are revenues from equities, $842 million. The estimate was $930 million. Goldman reported $1.77 billion. The estimate was $1.81 billion. Charles Schwab this morning reporting their trading revenue for the first quarter was down 8% year over year. Now, you can look at this one of two ways. Obviously, a lot of people are cynical about the rally and not putting money to work as we're near the top, as you would normally see. This is also a good contrarian indicator in that it represents money that is on the sidelines. If we blow through the new highs and we're only 1% away, that could drag in even more money. So you can look at this one of several ways. Finally, we've got a very full IPO calendar. It's really starting to open up. Of course, everybody knows Pinterest is going to be here at the New York Stock Exchange, scheduled for Thursday, 75 million shares at 15 to 17. That's the biggest one. Of course, we also have Zoom video. That'll be on the NASDAQ. Starting on Thursday. A lot of anticipation about that, a video communication platform. But we've got a half a dozen other companies, smaller companies that are out there that are really opening up. Brigham Minerals, for example, will become a big mineral company later in the week. And it's those smaller ones that you really want to watch. Remember, 230 companies so far this year. Finally, got a lot of students behind me walking around here. Citadel and Citadel Securities are hosting their Data Open competition today to try to bring in new talent to do coding and look at how financial services interacts with data analysis. This is one of the big companies doing that, so you see a lot of students walking around here on the floor today, and welcome to them. Down 51 points. Carl, back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks.